Tonight, Richard Hammond returns to the scene of a mechanical misunderstanding.
It wasn't a misunderstanding, the crankshaft came out.
That is the engine's strongest available wording for I resign.
The Dampervan was a Volkswagen camper modified to travel on water, which it did beautifully right up until a major internal component sought asylum in the pond.
We are not putting the crankshaft on trial.
No. This is restorative justice. The crankshaft will be invited to describe the working conditions.
It is a piece of metal, May.
And yet it communicated its grievance more clearly than most production meetings.
The problem with the old story is everybody remembers the splash and then the engine failure becomes the punchline.
Because it was extremely funny.
It was also the car telling us exactly where the land machine ended and the water fantasy began.
That is better. The failure is not an interruption to the episode. It is the border the episode discovered.
Fine. Tonight we rebuild the border.
Not the whole van, one honest bench section. We put the old crankshaft story on the wall, then build a little transparent drivetrain rig that shows what changes when wheels become propellers.
Loads, gearing, sealing, cooling. 4 reasons an amphibious drivetrain is not merely a road drivetrain wearing trunks.
And then we attach the rig to something ridiculous.
Obviously.
A small-scale damper van with the engine load visible on gauges and every transition performed in one unbroken view.
This sounds dangerously educational.
It's so you can drive it.
Excellent. What am I trying to do?
Cross a shallow controlled pool without forcing the model drivetrain beyond the red line established on the bench.
In other words, drive slowly.
In other words, notice the machine before it has to throw a component at you.
I reject the premise that machines communicate.
Your entire career is footage of machines communicating with you at increasing volume.
The fun canon is simple. Every amphibious build gets one object on the dashboard from the builds before it. This one carries a tiny brass crankshaft.
A saint's relic.
A warning label with excellent machining.
And when the load approaches the line, the dashboard doesn't beep. The little crankshaft lifts 1 millimeter.
It is absurdly subtle. I shall never see it.
Which is the test.
Exactly. Can the show make mechanical sympathy visible without turning it into a lecture?
My counter-proposal is a large red lamp saying Hammond was right.
Rejected on grounds of measurement contamination.
Accepted for the credits.
We need stakes.
Dry crossing with no hidden cut, drivetrain below the bench red line, no part leaving the assembly, and a complete load trace published after the run.
If it fails, the trace decides why before any of us decides whom to blame.
This is a terrible development for television.
It is an excellent development for the next episode.
That's the series. We return to the water, carrying the part that taught us something, not pretending the first attempt never happened.
And if the tiny crankshaft rises?
You lift.
And if I don't?
The machine writes the ending again.
This time we promise to read it. Episode premise is a transparent scale Dampervan drivetrain crossing a controlled pool with one unbroken transition view, Richard plus James. Bench plan before production bench establishes a visible drivetrain red line before the water run. Crossing must remain below it, James. Verify in published load trace dashboard that lifts as the subtle overload cue, preserving Dampervan fun canon. Richard, prop proof before filming success contract. Dry crossing, no hidden cut, no component departure, complete load trace. Failure explanation follows trace before